Hey everyone, I am Ashish, and in this video we will be discussing the introduction to Python. So we will be discussing data types, operators, how many operators there are, data structures, and conditional statements, loops, functions, a little bit of debugging if the time allows, classes, methods, and objects, and rest of the topics like exception handling and user input, string formatting, and file handling, and so on we will be discussing in other videos. As when we come to the pandas module, we'll be looking at what exception handling is, and in the pandas specifically, we will be discussing lambda functions. So we will discuss a lot of things, but when the time comes, for now we will just look at the basics like data types, operators, data structure, conditional statements, loops, functions, and classes. All right. So let's get started. Okay. Let me fix this first before we get started. Nope. All right. So this is a Python notebook that I have opened right now is a Python notebook, but from my GitHub. So if you are following from previous video, then I have shown over there that I have connected my GitHub repository to my VS Code browser. So in this, I have this folder called Basics of Python and Introduction to Python. So this is the notebook I'll be opening. This is the notebook that I'll be opening in my VS Code. So for some reason, this mathematical formula is not appearing properly. I'll fix it later on. But for now, let's get started. So this is how the notebook looks like, and and honestly, there are majorly only two things to it, like code cell and a markdown cell. If you press on the code cell, you have a code, but you have a code cell, of course, in which you can code anything. Like let's say 10 plus 2 is 12. All you need to do is just run it. Press this run button or shift enter to run it and take this thing to the next cell. Like let's say I have 11,000 plus and let's say 8. So if I shift enter, wait, I need to select the kernel first as well. So over to select the kernel, I'm installing some extensions which are VS Code extensions. And basically VS Code will do that for me automatically. I don't need to extensively do anything at all. After the extensions are installed, I'm going to go to select a Python environment. In this case, which will be the data science environment, the DS environment. And if you are also using the Cookie Cloud Labs, then you should also select the data science. But environment is a basically a baby of Python. So there's a global environment in which the entire Python is, but sometimes depending on the project, you need, let's say, version one of some package. Sometimes you need version two of some package. So we don't install anything in the global environment at all. So therefore, we have virtual environments. Let's say in virtual environment one, you have Pandas version 1. In virtual environment 2, you have Pandas version 2. In virtual environment 3, you have Pandas version 3, and so on. Therefore, I have created three virtual environments, one specifically for TensorFlow, one for PyTorch, and one is for overall the data science stack that we will be using. So DS I have selected as the kernel. And if I run this cell, as you will see, 11,000 plus 8 is 11,008. Simple, right? We didn't even need a print statement anymore. And if I do a shift enter on it, the cell will be executed and I'll be taken to the next cell. 10 plus 2, 10 multiplied by 2, 10 divided by 2. These are the arithmetic operators. 10 minus 2 should give me 8. Yep. The square operator is something like this. 10 asterisk asterisk 2, 10 to the power 2, 100 cubic power, 10 to the power 3, and so on. This is just like a regulator, right? So first thing first, what are variables? Variables would be your, I would say, placeholder. Well, there are better tutorials out there to understand what variables are, but practically speaking, you just give a data a name. That's it. That's it, really. Like, let's say if you have a 10, you are assigning the value of 10, not actually you are assigning the value of 10, but you are assigning a name to the data 10. So, like, let's say you have a data which is 10, data could be anything. It could be number, it could be a sentence. I'm assigning that, hey, whenever I call A, then data 10 should be called. So it's not like I'm saving 10 into A. No, it's that I'm calling the data 10 as the variable name A. Let's not get confused and proceed a little bit further. Then we have a print function. Print function, all it does is it takes whatever inside the bracket is and it prints to the console that particular value. So take a look. A equals 10. So now when I'm supposed to call A, 10 will be there, right? B equals 2, another variable. Print B, 2. So B has the value of 2. I mean, in Colab, in Python notebooks, the good feature is there is something like auto print. So if I just whatever you write in the last cell, like let's say the first line is 10, second line is 5, third line is A equals 5, fourth line is A B equals let's say 6, and in the last line I will say A plus B. So in the Python notebooks, what there is a auto print feature. So so the variable that comes at the last will be auto printed. Like let's see over here, A plus B, the value of 5 plus 6 gives me 11, right? So, but if you explicitly need to print something in the middle of the cell, that's where you use the print function. So I'm like, let's say I'm saying print B, then I'm saying print for me the value of A. So as you can see, explicitly print is done by the print function. Print A plus B, print A minus B, and that's it. Then there are some comments, something like a comment. That means that, hey, interpreter or compiler, hey, Python, ignore whatever comes after the, what's this symbol called? I don't remember what this symbol is called, but whatever you write after this will be ignored by Python, basically. When Python sees this symbol, Python says, okay, you can write it as a notes. Whatever you write will be ignored by Python. That's it. Like let's say all the, I have written a lot of thing in this particular cell, but all that executes and give me is just the value of 10 because that's what I'm printing as the code, right? And comments are useful because sometimes you need to take notes of, there is a short story which is very famous. Like if you are programming and if you are very new to it, especially, then whatever code you have written, if you don't leave comments, then in the first day that you have written the code, you know like what the code is supposed to do. But as the weeks progress, if you don't write the comments, only God would know what your code do. So eventually we all forget like all this coding and stuff, but comments helps us remember like what a certain piece of code did for us. Right now the code is very simple. That's why it doesn't make sense to it might not make sense to you like why are we writing comments just for variable equals 10. Yeah, because code is simple right now, but as we move on to complex applications, uh, you will see that note taking will become more important than the code writing. Okay, okay, so we have discussed print. You may choose to read all of this that I've written. A B A B A B. Let's move on to the next topic, which is data type. Then again, I'm starting a new notebook. When I start a new notebook, port will be opened. So if you feel like your Cloud Labs is running slow, You can close the portal or say port. It's just like your Jupyter notebook. Whenever you open a Jupyter notebook, a black box thingy gets initialized in the backend, right? So you can close it. I mean, not really. It wouldn't be a problem in the first, but if you, let's say, have 5 to 6 kernels, 5 to 6 ports are open, then I'm saying it might get slow. So close it and start it over again. All right. So data type, select kernel. I'm gonna select this time again the data science kernel. The DS kernel is selected. By default, you will be having all the virtual environments in the Cloud Lab. So no worries over there. So we are supposed to cover data type. First data type we will discuss is integers. A equals 10, print A, it gives me 10. Fair enough, right? It's an integer. Then 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negative integers. Then if you were to check the type of it, we have a function called type. So all I'm doing right now is print the type of A. Notice how everything is brackets within a bracket. So take a look. If I were to expand this, I have a function print, and inside that function, I'm giving a value of type of A. And whatever the type of A will be, that would get printed. So take a look from inside out. A was given to type, type was given to print. So print the whatever it will print would be the type. So class integer. All right. Okay. Then second we have decimal numbers which we call floating points in our programming language. So 10.0, that's a floating number. 10.1, 10.2, or any kind of decimal number is a floating point number really. If you check the type of it, it will say class float. Class, what exactly the word class is, we will be looking at later tutorials, like what class is basically. And if I were to give you an explanation of what class is right now, easier, even though a little bit wrong, but easier definition would be that class, you can just say that data type, it's a particular data type. So let's say there is written class float. So I'm saying the data type of this particular variable B for Bombay, the data type of this particular uh, data that was stored as B is float. Then we have Boolean, which is used for some condition checks, like if true, do that, if not, do that. Like if true, let's say, print me something. If not, don't print me something. So true and false are two Boolean values. So right now, D equals true, and if you print the D, you get the true. If you print the type of D, you get bool, which stands for Boolean. And internally, Booleans are stored in this way that if you convert a true to a integer or a number, it will give you 1. Any other number will be giving you false. Or was it the other way around in Python? In Python, I believe if you convert 0 to Boolean, that would be false. Any other number becomes true. Yeah, I think that's the case. Let's check it out now. So I'm writing right now, let's say type, not the type. There's a function called bool that what it does is it converts whatever is given to the function and converts it into a boolean. So if I say convert 6 into boolean, it should give me the value true. True. Okay. If I say minus 6, it should also give me true. Okay. Anything but 0 gives me true. So if I check for the boolean of 0, that's false. All right. Then there's a none data type. I don't think it can be called a data type. But yeah, it's a data type, class none type. None means just empty variable. You have just created a variable but not put a data over there. And then there are strings. Strings are one of the most important data characters in Python, because natural language processing, it teaches you basically the sequential type of data. Because let's say if you're writing some random character sequence, then there are a lot of sequences happening in this thing. SOME. This word sum is a sequence because character by character by character. If you mess the characters up, if the mess the sequence of the characters, the word sum would not make sense. If you write sum as MESO, if you mess up the sequence of the characters, it doesn't make sense, right? So, and the second sequence would be some random character sequence. If you were to read it from right to left, it would be sequence character random sum. So that wouldn't make sense. That's why the sentences are a sequence, words are a sequence, and basically, you can write your string with double quotes and single quotes as well. So I'm writing the string, saving it as something, and printing it. Then the entire string is getting printed. Yep. Okay, take a look. If you have a string, like this is h equals aliens planet. So, yep, you have printed it over here. Notice how there's a different single quote in here. But let me show. If I were to say something like this, like let's say I'm starting with single quotes and I will say this is a random sentence. This is also completely fine because starting bracket is single quote, ending bracket is single quote. So what happens, let's say if I was supposed to write a random sentence, I know it doesn't make sense. Or let's say if I were to write this is a Ashish sentence, you would see that string started from here and string ended here. Then whatever this is, Python is not able to understand it. And you can see even VS Code is able to not able to figure out what this particular portion of the code is. So in that case, you can do backslash just to tell Python, okay, whatever is the next character, ignore it. So this backslash uh, comma becomes not comma but backslash quote becomes a literal quote. So if I run this right now, it will give me this is, and notice how the opening and closing brackets changed because I am using a single quote in here. So this is a Ashish string. All right. And if I were to remove the backslash, I think there will be an error. This is Ashish sentence, unterminated string literal, because unterminated means string ended over here. But what is this thing? Unterminated, right? Oh, so let me use a backslash. That was one way. The another way could be that you could use different opening and using quotes. Like let's say I'm using the opening and closing quotes as double quotes, but inside I'm using a single quote. That's fine as well. No problems, no worries. Okay, let's say escape sequence. We have done it. Escape sequence are yep, done. Backslash n is there as well. Backslash t is there, but we will discuss it later on when we are doing the projects. So that was single line string that we had discussed. And if we want to make a multi-line strings, we would have to use either triple quotes, the double triple quotes, or single triple quotes. Like let's say, I know it was confusing a bit in here. So let's say I have a sentence over here, which is a multi-line string. Notice this becomes a quote. It's not a comment. You could write either, like let's say this, whatever the symbol is called. Now this becomes executable because it's a comment, and notice there is no output over here. So as a note taking, you can do that. But a lot of the times note taking happens like this way. You start with three quotes, you end with three quotes, and see there's first of all, see there's a backslash n in here. Backslash n means new line character. It's not backslash different and n different. It's backslash n. So the two characters of backslash plus n makes an escape sequence of new line. New line character it is called. And notice that the entire thing is one single string. And we can use either triple quotes of double quotes or we could use triple of single quotes. Means the same thing really. Okay, so let's continue in the next video. I believe this is quite long. Yeah, let's continue in the next video. Thank you for watching.